Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And over the last few minutes, we've had one of the more positive pieces of news that has come out in quite some time here around the Call of Duty side. Maven Merk officially returning for Major 1 and future Majors and the World Championship after this. Plenty else to dive into also this evening. Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Lots more to come, I'm sure, over the coverage of the Major. It's going to be a good time, especially with Maven Merk back in business. We'll discuss how exactly this happens over the coming minutes here. Firstly, this Envoy landed back in Dallas with the squad. Yesterday, I believe, was the travel day for most of these teams. Today, they should be there doing the testing and other stuff they need to do. We'll see what CleanX had to say on that here in just a second. And as Scump says, it's Major Week. We're back in business. It's always a good time. This month, as I said a couple of videos ago, is going to be packed out of control for Call of Duty content, straight from this Major into the next stuff. And that's what some people were suggesting with this update that comes through just a few minutes ago now from the CDL. Like, how is this going to work out in terms of the updates we want to see? When are they going to arrive? Is there any time for these things to arrive, given there's not much break at all between Major 1 and the start of Stage 2. We'll see what they had to say on that here in a second. This firstly from CleanX, it seemed like he did kind of a Huke thing, to be honest. Like last year, Huke misspelled his name right to one of these tests that he had to do, therefore it was invalid, and there was all this drama about it, and therefore he couldn't compete there to bring a substitute in. It was a bit of a nightmare. Apparently CleanX has kind of done something similar, had it slightly off frame or something, therefore it wasn't counting, and well, he's hoping he can get all this sorted out. So yeah, a bit of a nightmare for some of these players. Maybe CleanX going down a similar route, but well, a few other things to mention here before we dive into the whole update that the CDL came up with very recently. Some new content coming into the fray. We've got Los Angeles Guerrillas doing a podcast type thing. We've got P1 going on. aBeZy Central and Slacked, they're getting involved. Doug's all over the shop nowadays, right? He's doing all of these shows. Slacked, I believe, tweeted out as well. He's looking for opportunities in content creation, coaching, management, all this type of stuff. Thought he was pretty good on the desk actually at the Kickoff Classic. Maybe something you can go into in the future. This also from the subliners, just because we were talking about CleanX, and of course, well, New York have had a pretty difficult time as of late. They say the following. So episode 3 of No Pressure coming out tomorrow. And well, as they say right here, with a Major on the line and the losers bracket to start, the climb back up won't be easy. Explanations are in store, as well as an announcement you will not be expecting. What could this possibly be? Like, yeah, I guess they're going to explain the whole Neptune out royalty in situation, because at the end of episode 2, they basically said, yeah, Neptune's got a royalties in. Didn't really explain it all that much. Not sure what this announcement is we won't be expecting. And honestly, I was not expecting this whole Merk and Maven thing. And I heard about this last night, that this was more than likely happening. And well, I got very excited indeed, as well, I'm sure a lot of us fans did, having seen this news very recently indeed. But the community update said way more than just that. Honestly, first of all, just fantastic job from the CDL and Daniel Site and everyone involved in getting this done, because last year, one of the biggest complaints we had was the lack of transparency from the CDL with the fans and the community in general. It really felt like the whole idea that, I mean, you can see them right here, the 3 pillars of professional Call of Duty, the pros, the amateurs, the fans, like the community in general, was that, well, at least 2 of those 3 were getting ignored last year. Now, maybe it's only one of those 3 getting ignored right to the amateur side. But it's great the transparency they're having with the fans right now. Like, they seem to be listening to feedback, they want the feedback to come through, and I remember when Maven and Merk initially weren't coming on, right, and they were tweeting out, we're not really sure what's going on here, they're not bringing us back, and I tweeted in reply, and I wonder how they're going to explain this on the next community update. And in fairness to the guys, they did explain it, right? I wondered if they just wouldn't come out with an update number 2, because they didn't really want to approach this topic, but they do it anyway. They address pretty much all the key issues we've had right now. Of course, there's always things they could do better, but just honestly, great job. And of course, well, the elephant in the room was the whole Maven and Merk situation. They address it and give us the answer that pretty much we all wanted. Before we get into that though, some other changes that come through. First of all, they confirm that they will be changing control so that round 5 defensive side is decided by attacking ticks earned rather than kills, which of course a massive deal. This needs to be done. When it will be done, I don't know. He said that they're trying to work on it, right? There was also some talk about the maps that they're trying to bring in. Casablanca, and he doesn't reckon Gunless will be in there, but Casablanca maybe. The pros I think are going to try it, give it a go. Hopefully that might be the case. There was also talk about the smokes. Daniel was talking about, okay, they've been talking to the developers about getting them fixed so we can use them with the whole one-way issue, right, and maybe fixing that for competitive play. Now, well, he didn't give a timeline as of yet as to when that might be the case. Hopefully soon, but I mean, that didn't really have a timeline. None of this really had a timeline, but just good to know they're hearing about it. And if he's talking about it now, you would imagine that this comes to fruition over there, well, the coming weeks, right, you would think. And honestly, I don't really think this change with, attacking ticks for, well, to ticks than kills really matters when they do it. Even if they do it just before one of the second week, let's say the second week of the major qualifiers or whatever, the stage 2, don't really think it matters all that much that it's mid-stage. Because the only difference this makes is okay, if you're an offensive team, you, instead of just camping in your spawn for the round, you actually just go for the hard points or go for the control points. Doesn't really seem like a big deal to change that in the middle of a stage. Better get it in as soon as it's actually possible to do so. But let's talk about the big deal. That, of course, being Maven and Merk. They tweeted this back on the 18th of January, saying oh, well, as Maven said, generally don't know if I'll be involved in the CDL. I fought battles internally. Maybe that is hurting me now. Huge backlash from the community the last couple of months or so. Why Maven Maven Merk not here, the premier casters in the scene. What's Activision playing at? What's the CDL playing at? We thought we had some good W's going into the season, and then this came along and all of a sudden it goes into question mark once again. Now, well, it gets confirmed just a few minutes ago that yes, they're back in business, it is official. Daniel Sai talks about it, addresses the situation, and says they were always part of the plan to bring them back this year, which is quite interesting, right? Because in fairness, Maven Merk did say when this whole thing was going down, they weren't sure what was going on, they weren't really hearing the communication. So interesting to hear from the CDL side that they thought, okay, Maven Merk always part of the plan, but not part of the plan for the regular stages, only part of the plan for the majors. This is what he has to say.
One item, Spence, I do want to address is just obviously a lot of community discourse about two noticeable missing faces from CDL so far, Merk and Maven. We have to talk about it. I am excited to announce that they are back for our CDL season. They were always part of our plans. We just couldn't talk about it because there were ongoing negotiations, but those are complete. And so I'm excited to say these two, who are obviously extremely talented, are going to be part of our biggest and brightest moments of the CDL with our majors and our playoffs and our champs. Excited to see them. They're obviously been so great over the years, and I think our fans will be really happy to see them in those biggest and brightest moments.
So this is the news we've been waiting for a very long time. It really does feel like the COD community has a lot of power. You know what I mean? Like when we really fight for something and we talk about it all the time and we get angry and stuff like this. And at the CDL and nowadays, they actually seem to listen, right? And yeah, it worked, right? The COD community won. We asked Maven Merk back, sometimes politely, sometimes with frustration, and understandably so. And now they're back in business. As I've said before with Maven Merk, I think they really thrive in a venue. I think that's their best possible situation. Online matches, they're pretty good, but I think they get way better when they're on LAN, especially Maven. Like, you know, he just gets hyped in front of a crowd. He knows how to deal with the crowd so well and just creates so many memorable moments. So having them back just for the majors is a very interesting one, first of all. But yes, they'll be here for Major 1, they'll be here for the future majors, they'll be here for the playoffs as well as well. We'd call it champs, right? But I guess it's technically the playoffs nowadays. But yeah, the regular stage, they'll just be the 3 casting duos as is per usual, and I don't really think there's too much of a problem with that. At the majors anyway, there's quite a lot of games that go on some of these days. Might make sense to have some more casting duos available at the time. And this is what they have to say. Merk says, hello friends, had to go dark on socials for a while, but well, I'm in Dallas, we'll be casting at this major. Let's have a fun week, very exciting stuff. And as Maven confirms, Joe and I will be back for all CDL majors and champs. Excited to be back, this is my home. Thanks to all the fans for the support along the way. Now it's time to shake the rust off, get after it this weekend. It shall be a glorious time indeed. As Maven says, at first it was odd not to be doing the entire league, but I think this could be a good thing. I want to work on the CDL forever. We'll need to work on some other projects as well, sometimes maybe streaming, all that type of good stuff. So yeah, Maven, I guess, to get some time off, right, these guys. They're going to go to the majors, cast those, then for the regular stages have to do other things. So I guess maybe they didn't, well, maybe the CDL just didn't want to pay them the money that they need to do all the regular stages, but said, look, we'll pay you for the majors, and we'll get you there for the majors and champs, and we'll save a bit of paper on the other side. Which, of course, look, it'd be better if they're here all the time, right, no doubt about it. But look, they're here. I honestly did not expect them to be back. I thought like it was done. I did not know if the CDL was going to address it, and well, I'm very happy with the outcome that we have seen. A few other key things that were mentioned in that update. Firstly, this is COD Gamepedia point out, they now have the ability to manually add ping to a team. They were talking about the online situation, the fact that generally in most games, the ping differential on the servers is only about 10 ping between one team and the other based on the location, but apparently they have the technology now to manually add ping to one particular squad to make sure it's even more fair. So guess that sounds a pretty good idea in theory. I'm sure the players will find a way to be frustrated about this, and maybe there'll be some issues with it, but it was something they might indeed try. Also, they confirmed, because we kind of did look earlier today in the description, they said they were going to talk about the rookies. Probably could have theorized as a result of that they're going to do an official Rookie of the Year award this season, not something we've had before. Last year, and the year before, we kind of had to theorize who it would be. Shotzzy won the MVP in 2020, just the straight up MVP, so of course he would have been the Rookie of the Year that year, and last year it was almost certainly Insight on the Toronto Ultra, but this season we will get an official one. Loads of new rookies coming into the scene this season, of course, and before we close out the video, I want to talk about what Los Angeles Thieves had to say ahead of the major this weekend. A lot of talk about this team as of late. The vibes on this team look very strong indeed. The chemistry very much seems to be there, but are the results going to be there for this team this weekend? They do not have the easiest bracket. I was talking to Kenny just a couple of days ago. This episode is now up on the Breaking Point YouTube channel. 24 minutes of all great chat, I think, really, of what Kenny's thinking about going into this major. But he reckoned that if they beat Toronto, he's very confident they'll go on to win the entire thing. He reckons that'll be a massive momentum swing in their favour. And certainly their hardpoints have been great, their comms have been great, but how have their scrims been going, right? Can they beat these top teams in the practice behind the scenes, especially from Los Angeles? Like, you'd think it would be a little little bit worse for them. Octane came out in a clip a couple of days ago. Sky's also had a few words to say on how their practice was going on the Florida side, so maybe a team to watch out in the lower bracket. But Octane reckons they played FaZe a couple of days ago, took them down 4-2, maybe actually 5-1. Excluding Search and Destroys, apparently Search and Destroy has been really good for FaZe as of late, so well, maybe they got the better of Los Angeles Thieves in the Search, but in the respawns, 5-1 Octane potentially reckons in the respawns against FaZe. That is, well, certainly a good sign for LA Thieves heading into this weekend.
Our scrims today? Who do we play today? We played FaZe. Played FaZe and LAG. We went 3-3 with LAG, and we went 4-2, not including S&Ds with FaZe. We had the 4. No, 5? 5-1? 5-1 or 4-2, not including us.
I actually feel like confident. I feel like we're actually using really good teamwork, not just like relying on our kills. Because we'd outslay so much teams, but like we've been outslaying them by a lot and winning by like 150, 100 points. We've actually been. I'll be honest. We've been everybody besides FaZe. We either have like a close series or there's got to just turn. It's good though. That's the good thing though. We've been screaming FaZe a lot, dude, which is like a really good team. Obviously. Scrim.
So no doubt an exciting time to be a COD fan in general, Los Angeles Thieves fan especially, right? A lot of people picking them to win this entire thing this weekend. They have far from the easiest bracket, but who knows, maybe they can pull this one off. And well, also this one, the COD League, they kind of were getting roasted for this, right? So, you know, there were some positives. There was also this that came out, they put their shop now live, and you know, time to rep your team with style. People were talking about, okay, maybe things could be a little bit better, maybe they're a bit overpriced. I also think that it's kind of frustrating these stores as like a fan outside the US. Like the shipping is expensive, the export costs, like often it costs like so much. I think generally this is a problem not just for the CDL, but just for teams merchandise in general, that it's tough to get for a reasonable price outside of the US. And, you know, I really remember, I think it was the start of Modern Warfare maybe, before the CDL came in and designed their own stuff, which is basically copy and paste, change the colors, that type of stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure that the teams actually got to design their own stuff right at the start of the Modern Warfare season, and that stuff was so cool. I kind of wish they'd bring that back, right, and allow the teams a bit more flexibility in what they design, not only their merchandise and their kind of jerseys and stuff, but also, you know, what they have for their weapon camos in the game and their team skins. Like, that would be really cool as a step up going forwards. Maybe something that can be addressed in a community update sometime down the line. But you know, good, as I say, to see the transparency from the COD League on the issues that we have been raising at this point for quite some time. This also, just to mention from Deserter Esports, was being discussed on the Reddit. Nice little fade right here from StarRunner888. He's, of course, repping OpTic Texas this weekend. But, well, will it work out for him? I suppose that remains to be seen. And a nice little clip here from Priestahh to finish off the video. But yes, a good day for Call of Duty fans. Maven Merk, they're back in business. It's going to be a good time this major, right? I was not overwhelmingly confident they'd be back in business this season, but it has now been confirmed. Great stuff. And of course, the CDL have seen the reaction that the community's had where they initially maybe decided not to bring them back, or, I mean, as Daniel said, he reckons they were part of their plan the entire time. And even if that was the case, right, that the reaction when they were announced to not be part of the regular season was, I mean, the backlash was pretty immense. I'm sure next season they're not going to make a similar mistake, right, and make sure they get them on board once again. Otherwise, that they'll have to deal with a similar degree of, frustration from the community. And it seems like it's kind of nice to feel like we have some power right in swaying what the CDL does nowadays, and they actually pay attention to what we have to say. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tell the YouTube gods this is a good video. I just like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always, take care, and I will see you next time.